So last year, I decided to do something crazy. I'm going to share my ATDOT experiment, which one worked best, and what I learned about myself along the way. For 60 days, I put my own personal preferences aside and followed 8 different popular diets back to back. I did keto, paleo, vegan, Mediterranean, intermittent fasting, low carb, high fat, raw food, whole 30, and It was an adventure, but I learned a lot about the benefits and drawbacks of each approach. And by the end, I had a clear winner. But before I tell you which diet that was, let me explain why I did this in the first place. You see, when it comes to nutrition, there is so much misinformation and confusion out there. Everyone seems to have their own opinion, and it can be hard to separate fact from fiction. For example, is fat really bad for us, or are carbs the enemy? Should we all be eating like cavemen, or is a plant-based diet the way to go? With so much conflicting advice, it's hard to know what to believe and how to make the best choices for our health. I wanted to find a simple solution. I wanted to cut through the noise and figure out once and for all which diet actually works best. And so I did what any good scientist would do. I designed a little experiment. Over the course of 60 days, I followed 8 different popular diets. First up, keto. I spent 2 weeks strictly following a ketogenic diet, which means that I ate lots of fatty meat and dairy products and cut out pretty much all carbohydrates. My meals consisted of things like bacon and eggs, avocados, and nuts, and very little else. This was by far the hardest diet to follow. Not only did I feel tired and sluggish most of the time, but I also experienced some pretty intense cravings for things like bread, pasta, and pizza. There were times where I really struggled, and I almost gave up. But I stuck it out, and at the end of the 2 weeks, I was ready to move on to the next diet. After keto came the paleo diet. This diet is based on the idea that we should eat like our ancestors did during the Paleolithic era. So I spent 2 weeks eating lots of meat and fruit and vegetables and nuts, and avoiding grains, legumes, and dairy products. Overall, this diet was a little bit easier to follow than keto, but I still felt pretty hungry most of the time. And let's face it, who wants to feel hungry all the time? Next up was a 2-week stint of intermittent fasting. This diet has become super popular in recent years, and it's all about when you eat, not necessarily what you eat. Basically, I limited myself to eating only during a 6-hour window each day, and I didn't eat anything during the other 18 hours. It was tough because it made socializing and eating out really difficult. I also found it really challenging to get all of my meals and snacks within that 6-hour window, but I did learn a lot about my body as hunger and fullness cues, and I did experience some weight loss and improved energy levels. But ultimately, the social aspect of this diet was a big drawback for me. I love food and I love sharing meals with friends and family, and this diet made it really hard to do that. Let's fast forward through the other 4 diets, because they weren't quite as interesting. The Mediterranean diet was pretty great, but it wasn't really all that different from the paleo diet. Then I went low carb, high fat, that was similar to keto, but with a few more carbs allowed. Then I did a raw food diet where I only ate uncooked foods. Finally, I did a whole 30 diet where I cut out sugar, alcohol, grains, legumes, and dairy products. None of these diets were particularly life-changing or had any major benefits over the others. Now let's talk about the vegan diet. After trying all those other diets, I was feeling pretty burnt out and honestly, a little bit discouraged. But then it was time to try the vegan diet. And I have to admit, I was a little skeptical. I've tried veganism before and I just couldn't seem to stick to it. But I figured I'd give it a shot anyway. And boy, am I glad I did. This diet was by far the easiest to follow, and it was also the most enjoyable. As a foodie, I love trying new recipes and discovering delicious plant-based meals and snacks. I felt great on this diet. I had tons of energy, both physically and mentally. I was also really happy with how I looked in the mirror. And then there's the flexitarian diet. This diet is all about balance and flexibility. It's not a strict plant-based diet like veganism is, but it does emphasize eating mostly plants with some meat or dairy or eggs or whatever you want here and there. And I gotta say, it's been a game changer for me. Okay, drumroll please. Which diet was the clear winner? The answer might surprise you. It wasn't the keto diet, despite its popularity. It wasn't the paleo diet or the Mediterranean diet or intermittent fasting. And while I love the simplicity of veganism, it wasn't quite right for me in the long run. The winner is the flexitarian diet. I know it's not as catchy as some of the other diets out there, but it's been a real game changer for me. It's given me the best of both worlds. I get to enjoy the deliciousness of meat and dairy and eggs whenever I want, without the guilt of feeling like I am ruining my health. At the same time, I also get to enjoy the amazing benefits of a plant-based diet. My skin is glowing, my hair is luscious, my energy levels are through the roof, and I feel great about myself. Plus, I've learned that a flexitarian diet isn't just good for me, it's also good for the planet. By reducing my meat consumption, I'm reducing my carbon footprint and helping to protect the environment. And let's be honest, who doesn't want to save the planet while looking and feeling their best? Now you might be wondering why I didn't include a vegetarian option in my little experiment. Well, I didn't include it because I knew that I personally wouldn't stick with it. For me, cutting out meat completely just isn't sustainable in the long run. I love meat too much, but the flexitarian diet is the perfect compromise. It allows me to eat meat occasionally without feeling like I'm cheating on my health goals. Another reason I chose this diet is because of its flexibility. Let's face it, life gets busy, and sometimes I forget to meal prep, or I do want to have time to cook a fancy plant-based meal. But with a flexitarian diet, I don't have to worry about that. I can grab whatever food is convenient at the time and still feel good about my choices. Of course, a flexitarian diet isn't a free pass to indulge in junk food all the time. I still have to be mindful of the overall balance of my diet. If I'm having a burger and fries one night, I probably won't be having ice cream the next night. I also have to be mindful of the quality of the meat and other animal products that I consume. I try to buy organic grass-fed meat whenever possible, and I make sure that my eggs come from pasture-raised chickens. Overall, a flexitarian diet is a really balanced approach to eating. It takes the best of both worlds and allows you to enjoy the deliciousness of meat and dairy, while still reaping the amazing benefits of a mostly plant-based diet. If you're thinking about trying a flexitarian diet yourself, I highly recommend it. You'll look and feel great, and you'll be doing the planet a favor. Plus, you'll get to enjoy the deliciousness of a wide variety of foods without the guilt. So what are you waiting for? Give it a try and see how great you'll feel. Thank you for watching, and see you later.